Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Julie.
Join us for unbuttoned and unedited conversations.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. My name is Sarah.
And I'm Julie, and we're excited to welcome actor Tom Durant-Prichard. Hopefully I got that right.
It was pretty close. I've heard so many versions of it, but yeah. Hi, nice to see you guys.
Thanks for joining us. What's the worst one you've ever gotten? Like, have you ever had a version so bad?
Well, I mean, I've had some pretty bad ones, but because it's a double-barreled surname, which is something that it feels so quintessentially English, and the middle bit of it is Durant.
Durant.
Which I think is French. But for years, I had a football or soccer coach who thought that my name was Darren, and I was so young that I wasn't actually brave enough to tell him that he didn't have my name right. So he called me Darren for about a decade.
Oh my God.
Okay, well, I didn't do that.
You didn't do that. No, you did really well. Thank you.
Oh, goodness. Well, we will not call you Darren. Thank you, Tom, for joining us. We've seen you around in quite a bit. You have lots of projects that you've been a part of, but just recently I decided to give Miss Scarlet another chance and was excited to see you on there. So let's talk a little bit about your character on Miss Scarlet.
Oh yeah, great. So well, it was originally Miss Scarlet and the Duke. And we've come to season 5, and the Duke has left, which I know has been quite upsetting for quite a lot of people. But there's been a new inspector come into town, and that is Inspector Blake. And it was this beautifully written character that I was really fortunate enough to audition for. Was it last year? No, year before last. And I just thought the script was amazing, and I thought I could bring something to this character because they did, it was such a tough thing taking over from someone who's so well loved, that it's kind of a bit of a poison chalice. So unless the writing's really good and you feel like the character's quite exciting, you don't really want to do it. But I read it and thought it would be quite interesting, and I was kind of interested to see what people would make of him.
Yeah, he's a fun character. He's got a good, strong personality. So, what's something you like about Inspector or Detective Alexander Blake? And is there anything you kind of don't like about him right now?
Well, you know what? The thing that I love about him is the thing that I think makes so many period dramas, especially sort of English period dramas, so great. Is there's a kind of silence, and these characters kind of don't say much, and there's a lot unsaid, and I think that kind of adds to the mystery of characters like that. And I think about sort of great books and films like Pride and Prejudice, and you get those characters like Mr. Darcy who sort of hold everything back, so it kind of allows an audience to guess what they're about. And for me as an actor, that's kind of fun because you sort of sit back a little bit, you don't reveal as much, and you let an audience sort of pick and choose what they think is going on for you. But there's a whole world of stuff happening inside. But he's also a bit stubborn, and that's quite annoying.
But I think people love that stubborn, like in those spaces between the words where they're just like, say what you want to say, right?
yeah, exactly. Just let it go. Let your hair down a little bit. Just relax. But no, that's not the way he does stuff.
When you were first started filming, did you have all of the scripts? Like, so did you know his story and all the things that we would learn throughout the series, or were you finding out a few scripts at a time?
No, I knew as soon as I got the job, the first 6 episodes, so I knew exactly what the storyline was going to be, which was kind of great because it meant that I could sort of piece together the whole character.
Right.
And I spoke with the writers and the director, and we really sort of delved into his background, because I think actually it's all the stuff that happens before the show starts for him that actually makes the character interesting. And yeah, it was all of those things that I think bring a sort of a freshness to the show, and yeah, gave me a sort of an idea of where the character would go over the 6 episodes.
So the season can be watched all at once if you have the PBS Passport in the States here, or you're getting it week by week. So for those of us getting it week by week, do we get to hear this season some backstory for the Inspector Blake?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it's that thing where we filmed it. When did we film it? We filmed it last February.
Yeah.
So
a year ago.
My memory is slightly hazy of what happens in what episode, but generally, it kind of, as the series progresses, you do get sort of little snippets of his past, and you sort of get to understand sort of more about why he is the way he is, and he gets to open up a little bit with Miss Scarlet, and that's been really, really fun to do.
I mean, speaking of Miss Scarlet, the banter between the two characters is so fun. What do you like about playing with that push and pull dynamic?
Well, I mean, it's just really fun. If you're going to be like doing something that's got a slight air of either romance or just a sort of tension between two protagonists within a show, it's just really great when you've got good writing and you can just bounce back and forth with your co-star. And Kate Phillips, who plays Miss Scarlet, is like, she's such a good actress, and I'd sort of known about her for years, so it was just really easy. Like, you get really great lines, and then your job as an actor is really simple, because you just turn up, you say it, and you hope that everybody's enjoying it as much as you are. And generally, that's the kind of also the most lovely thing about this show, is everyone has a really nice time making it, and it really feels like a little family. And I was I felt like I was the new kid at school,
right?
Yeah.
Who's kind of like started a little bit late. Everybody knows each other. Everybody knows which group they're in, and everyone knows where to go for dinner and all of that kind of stuff. Which kids you're hanging out with in the canteen. So I was a little bit like apprehensive when I first turned up about which group I was going to fit into, but no, they all welcomed me, and actually it was really easy.
That's lovely, and that's great to hear as fans that as we watch the show, it's like the actors are just really beloved, and you have all these seasons behind you. So to walk in on this season, on season 5, I can absolutely see how that is. But now I feel like I can see a lot more seasons.
I see what you've done there. That's a very good sort of that's like a little hint towards me letting you know if there are going to be future seasons. Well,
I'm just saying.
I can see it too. I think there's a really great premise for something moving forward, but we'll have to see what happens. But I've got my fingers crossed.
We do too. You talked about coming in as like the new kid on the show, but with a new character, when a new character comes into an established show, especially one like you were replacing essentially the Duke, Inspector Will. Oh goodness, now I'm going to forget. But anyway, it kind of brings fresh blood, and it challenges all the characters that we've seen for so many seasons, and brings out a new light, like a new freshness to these characters. And I'm enjoying that. So how did you feel? Like, tell us about that, being the new guy and kind of challenging, Eliza Scarlet and all the other characters that we've seen kind of in the same spot for so long.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thing, really. There's something really intimidating about starting a new job, and there's also something really exciting about it. And I think I've always enjoyed the idea of sort of being able to go into a show and mix stuff up a little bit. So I watched a few of the episodes of Miss Scarlet and the Duke, but I hadn't actually seen all of it.
Right.
And I then went on YouTube to try and get a sort of a sense of like, what all the videos were like. And then I realized that they were all Miss Scarlet and the Duke, will they, won't they? And people have sort of made these great compilations of them sort of about to kiss and then they don't. And I was like, I'm not sure how much of that I need to watch. So I kind of just avoided all of that. And then it allowed me to kind of come in and sort of put my own stamp on things. And it was also that kind of strange thing where it was, there's a new character arriving in a show, but there's also like me as an actor being new into the set. So you've got kind of two things happening at the same time. Like my character's starting a new job, and then me, the actor, I'm also starting a new job.
Right.
So it all kind of fitted into the same thing, and I think it kind of just mixed up the dynamic a little bit. And yeah, I think it works. So I'm excited for people to see the rest of the season.
I think the dynamic is really fun because they come in, they're not enemies, but they are certainly oppositional to each other. And a lot of the dialogue is fact-based, but the tension the two of you bring to the facts is so fun to watch on screen.
Yeah, I mean that was the fun thing, really. Is I think that's kind of where the conversation works. Is that back and forth between two people who are a match for one another. They meet on a level,
Right.
and they can just kind of push each other in so many different areas because they've met their equal, and it's I think that's what makes it quite exciting.
Right. Is it hard to bring the emotion when you only have facts to work with, or did that just make it like almost easier because it's just like you can bring that tension between the lines?
Well, I guess, because it's early days and they've only really just met when you see them in episode 1. There isn't that history yet for there to be any kind of emotional tension between the two of them. But
it kind of is, because they're like poking at each other.
Yeah, they're poking at each other just out of a sort of like frustration. But it's like, I think as the season progresses, you see that frustration turn into like something else. But it's like, it starts in that kind of area, and it means that there's so much room for growth and sort of trying to figure each other out. So yeah, it carries on being quite interesting.
I love all the poking right away. It's just like, man.
It's fun. And what can you tease about your storyline for the rest of the series, like for series 5?
Well, I guess we can tease that it. I guess you'll watch a relationship between Blake and Eliza grow as the series continues, and I'm not sure how much I can tease, really. We'll have to see what happens, but they end up rubbing shoulders throughout the season and rubbing each other up the wrong way, but we'll see what happens.
So how many episodes are there in this season?
That's a very good question. I think there are 6. I think 6.
There's 6.
Yeah.
There are 6. Which is normal, but I know so many shows in the US seem to have so many more episodes in a season, whereas like, because in the UK 6 seems to be about right, but everyone I speak to are like, I can't believe you're only doing 6 episodes. We want 25.
Yes.
10 and 12 is pretty normal. I think Netflix shows or Paramount, whatever you're seeing, those are pretty normal. 6, I'm always like, where's the rest?
I know.
Yeah, where's the rest? It's like the introduction. Yeah.
Come on, in a movie.
Yeah, maybe we need to push that.
Right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Throw in a Christmas movie too,
Yeah.
The Christmas movie.
Oh, we could get in like an old English Christmas something happening. Come on.
A murder on Christmas Eve. Yeah.
So this is a question I've got for you. Are you watching Christmas movies throughout the year, or are you saving them from December?
So I think we have a mixture of both for us because we do a lot of interviews in the Hallmark world. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we started this year, I think in October, watching Christmas movies, and then oftentimes we'll watch them in the summer for the summer Christmas movies that roll out.
Yeah, July, Christmas in
Yeah,
July.
Christmas in July.
But
Right.
otherwise, not really. I mean, unless my kids want to watch Elf, let's be honest, right?
Yeah, I got you. Well, it's just my granddad. He loves watching. He watches the Christmas films all year round because he thinks they're the only movies, and because he's like everything else is too miserable, and he just thinks that it's the only kind of upbeat television he's going to watch. So we'll turn up in the sort of middle of summer, and he's got another. He loves all the Hallmark Christmas stuff. Yeah.
And there's plenty of them out there.
Right? No, he's absolutely right.
There's always something sweet, and then there's a kiss at the end. Come on,
magic, romance, can't go wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
What more can you ask for?
Right? I mean, I think your granddad has some good insight into what he wants in his life at this point. So, right?
Yeah,
and
I
then
think
do
he
you
does
sit there
too.
and watch with him sometimes when you're visiting?
Oh, I mean, always. I mean, we just sit there for hours. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you've done lots of other period pieces. How does this show stand out from those?
Well, it's sort of strange. Like every period drama you do, I mean, they all come sort of with their own sort of complications, and then you get slightly different eras and stuff. So it's I don't know. There's something really lovely about the Victorian sort of time period, and there's something so quintessentially English about the whole thing. With the costumes, the sort of the horse-drawn carriages, the top hats, all of that kind of stuff. So, do you mean as an actor, that kind of stuff's just always exciting to do. But then I got I was very lucky, and I did The Crown.
Yes.
Like sort of early days, I think it was season 2, and that was, I think the bits I did was sort of set in the late 50s, early 60s. So sort of that kind of time period as well was kind of fascinating. But I don't know, there's just something so great about a period drama. I think they're always kind of brilliant, and I just think all the costumes and the whole world that's created is just really exciting, and there's a sort of sense of magic about it that I think we can all just love, can't we?
Right.
I agree.
The world building. Yeah, the world building is so fun to watch, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Tell us a little bit, Tom, about this set and where you film Miss Scarlet.
Oh, sorry, Sarah. I've lost your signal there for a second.
Am I frozen? Can you hear me now?
You're a bit frozen. It sounded like you were underwater. Maybe just try that one more time.
Okay. Tell us about the set and where you're filming Miss Scarlet and just a little bit about the set.
Okay.
Speaking of the word, the world building, it really does feel like another world. So.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we film Miss Scarlet in Serbia, which is kind of amazing. I tell everyone that I'm filming there, and they're like, "Why does the town look like old London?" No, there's a studio that they've kind of built just on the outskirts of Belgrade, and I mean it's incredible. There's a huge backlot out the back, so you've got the entire sort of streets where Miss Scarlet's office is. You've got Scotland Yard, you've got all the horses and the carriages, and that is just kind of incredible. And then inside you've got this big sort of aircraft hangar type building, and then that's got all of our interior shots. So we kind of film, I'd say, about 90% of the season in the studio, with all the kind of external stuff. And then you'll notice, if you look really closely, you'll see actors who've maybe got one line, and they're all local Serbian actors, and all their voices are dubbed afterwards into English. But it's kind of amazing because you sort of get to know them all quite well over the the months that you're filming, and then it's quite weird when you watch the episode because they've got these immaculate English accents, and you have no idea how the magic of telling.
That's crazy. Serbia, I would have never guessed that you're filming in Serbia, but is it kind of lovely to have a like a permanent set up like that so you can go essentially to the same place to film?
Well, yeah, I must admit, it does make life incredibly easy. And, having done so many jobs where you're getting picked up at sort of 3 in the morning and driven to, the middle of nowhere, it is really nice just to know you're going to the same place each day,
Right.
and you get all these, great locations, and then all the actors are coming in, it makes it feel a little bit like, a kind of a theatre job, because all the actors are in the same place,
Right.
and it's quite rare to get that. Normally you're kind of all dotted about everywhere.
All over.
So yeah, it adds to the kind of like ensemble feel of the whole thing, I think.
Do you have a favorite place on set to film?
I love doing all the stuff in the back lot, everything that's outside, because it's the bit where they all the fog and the mist descends, and you can kind of sometimes do these night shoots, and like the horses and carriages coming down through the fog through Victorian London. It's kind of the stuff that makes you want to be an actor as a kid.
Right.
And I remember when I was really young, I did one of those tours of Universal Studios I did the one in Los Angeles, and it blew my mind. I could not believe that all of this stuff was kind of, where you see the fronts of the houses, and then you realize that they're just propped up with bits of wood. And there was just something about the magic of that, and that's what we've got in Serbia. So anything we're doing in that backlot is just magical, really.
That's fun. People are gonna love that. You guys have like a permanent set, regular place to go to. And you feel like you're in Victorian London. Like you don't feel like you're someplace modern that was made to look old, right? It just really takes you there as a viewer.
Well, I'm so pleased, because it's just one of those hysterical things that you're kind of you do a scene and you walk down the street, and then you turn left down one road and you're just in a car park, and it's that kind of it's that mad thing where 1 second you're really believing you're in Victorian London, and then the next second you're stood next to a Tesla. And you're like,
in your top hat and your
in your top hat, exactly.
Oh, that's funny. Now I feel like we need a picture of you in costume, like driving a Tesla.
Or buy a Tesla, just hanging out there.
Getting driven straight into my house in Victorian London. That weird disconnect.
The contrast. Buy the horse carriage.
Tom, when you were talking about being on the lot at Universal, it got me thinking about when did you know you wanted to be an actor? And involved in this world? Was that the moment that really got to you, or was it something else?
Well, it's sort of weird. I did some school plays, way back in the day, that I was like, oh my God, this is so much fun. I love this. And so that kind of got me into the kind of world of acting. But I come from a family of theatre people. So my dad worked in the theatre. My great grandmother was an actress in the West End. So I kind of it's sort of in my family. So it's not blood. A sort of a little bit in the blood. So it's not an unknown world. And then that time I came out to LA and did the Universal Studios thing. I stayed with a lovely British actor who's no longer with us, called Julian Sands, who did a gorgeous film back in the day called Room with a View. I'm not sure if you guys have.
Yep.
Yeah. So Julian
Which is an old book too, Room with a View. That's
exactly. Awesome. So those old Merchant Ivory movies, and so I stayed with him, and he sort of showed me around, and I got a real sense of what the world was like, and I just thought it was incredible. So I auditioned for drama school, and then spent 3 years at drama school doing all the drama school stuff, pretending to be a tree and sort of breathing and Shakespeare. And then after that, got into the world of theatre, did, plays and stuff for years, whilst doing all the sort of sideline jobs of, waiting, bars. I was a kids entertainer.
Okay. And what did you do? How did you entertain?
I just not very successfully. I did 1,000 children's parties.
Oh
Uh-huh.
my God.
But strangely with other quite well-known actors. So I did a lot. Do you know who James Norton is?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So James Norton and I used to
Do
go
children's
around.
parties together? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
me and him, we used to do kids parties together for years. Yeah,
That's
all round,
insane.
So
all
were you
around
doing like
London.
magic tricks, dressed as a clown?
I dressed as a clown, and also for like really like famous people. And it was awful, and it'll always be after you've done an acting job. So I remember after I did The Crown,
Yes.
and that was one of my big sort of first breaks. I thought, well, this is it.
Ugh.
But I had one more party booked in, and I went back and did it. And yeah, I was dressed as Darth Vader, blowing
Okay.
up balloons, and it was for the entire cast and crew of The Crown,
Oh,
Oh,
including the director. And so I had to nip it in the bud pretty sharply after that.
amazing.
Yeah.
you just left that mask on the whole time.
Oh yeah, as long as possible.
Oh, I somehow have never been to children's parties with actors of that caliber doing the bits.
Yeah.
I need footage of this somehow. That sounds amazing. But when you were a kid, you were in a couple of shows.
Sorry, Julie, I've lost you. I've lost you again.
Are we
Oh,
back?
there you are.
Okay.
You're back.
Perfect.
Yeah, you're back.
When you were a kid, what were some of those first plays that you were in?
Oh gosh, the first play. Well, the first play I did was a play written by the drama teacher
Yeah.
at my school, and it was Treasure Island. He'd written an adaptation of Treasure Island, and I did that when I was about 10. I played Sailor Number 4, and I
Yeah, you
had
did.
quite a dramatic. Yeah, I had quite a dramatic death. And then I hung up the old acting boots for a few years, and then I came back and did a play when I was 16. I auditioned for Grease
Okay.
in our sort of like high school musical,
Yeah.
and I kind of auditioned as a joke. I was very much that kid who was not really into drama. I was in the
Right.
sports teams, and that was kind of my world. And then I auditioned with a friend of mine, thinking it would be quite funny, and
Mhm.
they cast me in the role of Eugene,
Oh,
the
yeah, you
science
did.
nerd. Yeah, so I played Eugene in Grease,
Okay.
and had so much fun. And then after that, I did 6 plays in my last year at school.
Wow.
That's a lot.
And yeah, it was loads. And I was in the same year as there's a British comedian called Jack Whitehall, who I'm pretty sure
Okay.
you guys know in the States.
Yep.
So Jack Whitehall and I were in the same year, and we sort of set up our own little theatre group at
Yep.
our school. So that's kind of how we started. Yeah, and then it kind of went from there, really.
That's a fun story.
What's your favorite play you've ever been in?
Favorite play? I mean, I'm going to sound so traditionally English again.
Yeah, please do.
Shakespeare.
Of course.
It's got to be Shakespeare, and Macbeth is
Yeah.
always just brilliant. It's always good. But again, when I was a teenager, they did a film of Much Ado About Nothing,
Oh,
and the film was with Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson
Yes.
playing Benedict and Beatrice,
Yep.
and then Keanu Reeves
yep.
played Don John. And yeah, I just fell in love with it from there. So I guess Macbeth's my favourite play, but yeah, chuck me in any Shakespeare play and I'm a happy man.
Not too
I
picky
mean-
about Shakespeare. Yeah.
There's a reason
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
iconic.
I just love it.
Okay, so you did theater. Did you ever do musical theater?
No. I went to a drama school that was very famous for musical theatre and has had loads of musical theatre stars come out of our drama school. I was not blessed in that department. But a few years ago, I used to do a TV show called The Windsors, which was a kind
Right.
of it was a kind of taking the mick out of the royal family based on sort of articles that you would see in the tackiest newspapers.
Mhm.
So it was quite a sort of funny TV show, but we took that TV show and turned it into a play, and it went into the West End. And I remember first day of rehearsals, kind of quite confidently going in, going, "Oh, I know the score. We'll just tell some of our jokes, but we'll be doing it live." Turned up first day of rehearsals, and we were all stood around the piano. And it turns out that I sort of accidentally ended up in a West End musical, but I didn't really intend to. And I had to do a solo where I jumped through a window and then had to sing a song at Meghan Markle, who at that stage I think was being tortured on a sort of on a rack, and then I had to sort of come in singing, declaring my love for her. And anyway, it was absolutely horrifying, a dreadful experience, and I have no intention of ever doing it again.
I need video of you torturing Meghan Markle on a rack.
No, nobody ever needs to see that video. I'm quite pleased. I don't think it ever got filmed, and if it did, those videos need to be burnt immediately.
I was gonna say we need to like scroll down real far social media.
You'll be scrolling for years, I think, until you find that.
Somebody find us some video of that. That sounds amazing, actually. This is the stuff that you kind of love. I kind of love how you got yourself into a musical and didn't know it.
I know. I still can't quite believe I ever ended up in that situation. But though weirdly, it was in a theatre. It was in the Prince of Wales Theatre in the West End, which is now it's the theatre that's got Book of Mormon in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And before I went to drama school, I used to work in a pub, which was opposite that theatre, and the pub was called the Comedy Upstairs Downstairs, and I used to do the shift from 6 o'clock in the evening until 4 in the morning.
Ooh.
And back then, when I was working there, they had the cast of Mamma Mia was on in that theatre, so all the cast used to come in and do karaoke until the sort of early hours of the morning. And I remember at that stage making I haven't really made sort of bucket lists, but it was on my sort of list of things that I wanted to do, and one of the things was do a play in the West End at that theatre. And I felt like it was one of those things that I was desperate to do because I'd been working in this horrible pub. So it was kind of amazing that I got the opportunity to do that in my career and in that very theatre. So I feel like that has been ticked off the bucket list, and I can lay that to rest now, which is nice.
Switching sides of the streets you're on, right? You started on one side, ended up on the other.
Ended up in the other. Yeah.
Exactly. And yeah.
Do you have a bucket list project that you'd like to do? Like what else is left? Like what a role or some kind of production that you want to do?
It's funny that, isn't it? I'm never really sure. I don't know what I want to do ever, really. I kind of get a sense when I read something, if I like it and if it interests me, or if I feel I can do something to make it good. And I've had some like amazing auditions and I've read for things that are incredible, but you kind of read stuff and if you can make it better. And there have been things that I've read that I've really wanted to do, but I've known in my heart that I'm not quite right for it. So there aren't really particular projects that I am desperate to do, but I've always got my eyes peeled, and whenever anything good crops up, then I'll know. But until I see it, I generally don't know.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like that's pretty relatable. Sometimes people will ask you, like, what do you want to do in life? And you're like, I don't know. I'll just kind of take it as it comes. Right. That's how I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the best way. You must have that a little bit with the podcast. It's like you must have guests that you sort of really want on, and then sort of guests that turn up that you're kind of not expecting. And it's all kind of just part of the rich tapestry of life. And you've got to just sort of roll with it a bit.
Yes. Sometimes unexpected guests come on and we're like, they're our favorites. That we're so glad. Yeah.
Right.
So,
and
never know.
We never know. And sometimes you make like a connection that you're like, well, that was that was amazing, and I love their story, or I love their connection. Like I love your background of like I kind of, my family, they're theater people, and you started, then you just kind of stopped, then you started again, and it's life is a journey as opposed to a single destination, right?
Agreed. Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
That feels so like we should write that down, Julie.
No.
That should be that. Yeah, it should be on the bottom of all your
It should be on the
website
bottom,
stuff.
yes.
Paint it on the
Yeah,
wall
yeah.
back here. Take down the albums.
That's awesome. Tom, would you like to play a favorites game with us? It's our fake game.
It's a fake game.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Hang on a sec. I've lost you. Oh no, you're back.
Oh, no.
Are you back?
Are we back?
We're back.
No, you're back.
Okay, great. Okay, tell us, do you have a favorite rom-com?
I do. I've got pretty much anything with Hugh Grant. But if I had to pick one, it would probably have to be. Oh, I mean, it's really tough. It's either Four Weddings and a Funeral. It could be Notting Hill,
Right.
and it also could be Bridget Jones.
Right.
And depending on my mood, I could take any of those three.
That is an acceptable answer. We will
Absolutely.
all three of those. I mean, come on, they're iconic rom-coms for a reason, right?
Yeah, they're kind of classics, aren't they? You can't go
Absolutely.
wrong with those.
Do you
Now
have
I feel like watching Four Weddings and a Funeral. I haven't seen that in so long.
so good?
Yeah. Sorry, Julie.
Oh, it's just great. It's it's fantastic. It's so good.
Do you have a favorite TV series or a series you're currently binging? Not yours.
I'm currently binging. I mean, all the classics. I mean, Succession. I had to watch Succession.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved that. I've been watching a weird documentary with my wife, and we've been watching a show about K-pop.
Oh,
Does it mean anything to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's really it's these girls have kind of been picked from all over the world to kind of go into this training academy to become a new sort of mega pop group. And it's kind of amazing because they're doing all these sort of like dance routines during the week, but they're also being treated incredibly badly by this production company who are all kind of pitting them against one another. So that's been quite tense watching.
That whole K-pop phenomenon is craziness.
Oh, it's complete craziness. I'm quite pleased I'm too old to be too invested.
He won't be picked out.
Totally.
Yes, I feel like I just saw that one pop up for me, like as a recommendation, and I just skipped it. So maybe I'll give it a shot. What about favorite hobby or pastime?
I mean, favorite hobbies, pastimes. I mean, all the usual things. Love going to the cinema. Love reading, walking, seeing family, gym, cold water swimming.
How cold though?
I mean, pretty cold. The other day, I went in the other day. I mean, not cold for you, Julie. I mean, obviously, we're talking sort of London. I'm not talking your -5 billion degrees. I'm surprised you've actually got any liquid water where you are.
We don't.
Sort of, just skating. No, I think the water was about 3-4 degrees. So I mean, it was. Julie's so unimpressed. That's not cold at all.
I mean, it's melted.
Yeah.
0 is freezing in Celsius, so 3, 4. It's like,
It'll do.
upper 30s.
Yeah, hard pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's chilly though. It's good after the workout. That's what they say, right?
Yeah.
Cold water plunges, right? Do you have a favorite music, like a group or a song or style?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of I grew up listening to old sort of 60s, 70s sort of pop and rock. So if I
Yeah.
had a favorite band, I'd probably say it would be Crosby, Stills and Nash.
Yep. I could probably go pull a
Does it
few
ring any
albums of
bells?
that right now to add to my album collect. I flipped these out. Yeah, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. So good.
Do you have
Yeah,
a favorite
great. Crosby, Stills and Nash and
song
Young.
of theirs, or just in general?
Well, there's one song in particular that I love, and it's called Cathedral.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a beautiful song about them as a group. They all went to Winchester Cathedral, which is down in the West Country in the UK. And it's just beautiful. The harmonies are incredible, and it's just got a real sort of sense of theatre about it. And I saw them years ago with my brother and my dad at the Albert Hall, and it was just one of the best concerts I've ever been to.
Yeah, and their book of work is large, so their
Right.
concerts are outstanding, right?
Yeah, they're incredible. Incredible.
Very fun. Do you have any other projects other than Miss Scarlet that we can watch for the next few weeks? Anything else coming up?
I forgot for the next. Yeah, well, I've just finished filming season 1 of The Forsytes,
Oh,
Okay.
which is a remake of the Forsyte saga, which was, a hugely popular period drama that first came out, I think, in the late 60s.
oh,
And it was it was one of those real game changer TV shows back in the day that,
Mhm.
because it was when there were sort of I think there were still only 2 channels on terrestrial TV, and people used to sort of base their calendars around the Forsyte saga. So all social events kind of got cancelled for the duration of this
Right.
show being on, and it became massive. And then they sort of remade one about 20 years ago, but we've sort of reimagined it. So we filmed that during the summer, finished in sort of September, and I'm still not entirely sure when it's coming out, but I think it'll be really fun. And the character I play in it is about as different from Blake as you could want to be. I play a sort of a rogue cad who's going around trying to steal everyone's money and sleep with their wives, and it's really nice to sort of mix it up and play,
Right.
the good boy and then the bad boy
yeah.
in two shows set at the same kind of time.
That's a lot of fun. Okay, people will be watching for that for
Yeah,
sure.
Do
I
you
think it'll be great.
know where we'll come out? Like what?
Yeah,
where
it's
premiere?
also well, it's another PBS.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So it's Masterpiece, PBS. So they're doing it, and then I'm not sure what the plan is, but I think it's coming out in the next year or so.
Well,
Okay.
we know it'll be good if it's a PBS, because they're always good.
Yeah, those Masterpiece
Yeah.
shows are always outstanding and have such a huge following. So it'll be fun to see that and see a completely different character. Where can fans follow you on social media?
Oh, well, you can find me on Instagram, and I think you just have to look up my name, Tom Durant-Prichard. And I'm not quite sure what my name is on that, but it'll be something like that. So if
We
you want
will
to find
tag
me,
you
I'll be
on Instagram.
tag me. I'll be there or thereabouts. So yeah, come check me out.
Perfect. Well, this has been so fun to get to know you a bit, Tom. Thank you for coming on. I feel like our our followers will really enjoy getting to know you. So,
well, it's been really nice talking with you.
And we can't wait for the rest of Miss Scarlet's season 5.
Well,
absolutely.
I'm looking forward
Thank
to
you,
everyone
everybody.
watching it.
Yes.
Thanks.
Is there
Thanks for
anything else
joining
you
us.
want to say before? Like, do you want to throw out a little teaser or something that we'll post for the fans today?
Oh, I think we've covered everything.
Okay.
I think
All right.
I think people know everything they need to know.
Perfect.
Just watch.
Just watch. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.